Hey loves, and welcome to Heart Love Messages. My name is Crystal. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you are already subscribed here, welcome back. So just a quick message before we get into tonight's reading. I will be opening up personal readings for a limited time. So if you feel called to receive a personal reading, you can find all of that information in the description box below, as well as information on how to join us over on Patreon. Also, there's a lot of background noise. There's a lot going on outside. So just disregard it if you can, okay? But let's go ahead and get into it. I have a no contact message from your person. So I will be pulling from this deck here just to see how your person is currently feeling, how they are currently viewing you and or your connection, as well as any other important messages that they may have for you at this time, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get a very clear and concise message directly from their heart space. So the first message that we have here is the law of detachment. And I just got the word exposure very, very clearly. Because anytime this type of energy comes out, it really points to the underlying energy that's in your connection right now. And when it comes to the law of detachment, it's this moment in time where you learn to separate the person from the energy. So you may be a divine feminine who takes a very analytical approach to love, or when you run into conflicts in love. And this could literally be how you're approaching this no contact period. You're at this place where you are really trying to figure out who this masculine is as a soul. And you're only doing this because you're trying to figure out, who are you beyond you being this masculine that, I have interest in, or that I'm in love with, or that I have history with. Who are you as a soul? Okay, this is very, very important at this stage of your connection. And I'm picking up a mutual energy with this. So divine feminine, you're not the only one taking this approach. This masculine is looking at you through this very same lens. So whether you know it or not, your connection is about to go through some type of major shift, because now the energy is being separated. You're no longer looking at your person through this lens of love or through these rose-colored glasses. It's like you're stripping them down bare and identifying who they truly are as a soul, as a human, okay? And the energy around this card is so intense because it had to be something that took place in the recent past that made you assume this type of energy. Because I'm getting that this is not your normal way of approaching a no contact period, or there being a lag in communication. So there was definitely some kind of ripple effect where you had to kind of pull your energy back and literally detach from seeing your person as a lover, as a friend, as a divine masculine, as all of these titles that you put on this masculine. And now you're looking at them as a soul. So there's definitely this underlying energy of, who are you really? And once you put this energy out into the universe, the answers are going to appear to you, okay? For some of you, you may already be receiving confirmation, or your intuition may be guiding you in a certain direction when it comes to this person. But there is this huge energy of exposure with this connection that I'm tapping into, okay? Let's get the next message here. So the next message that we have is, you deserve better. And there's a very, very type of cold, calculated energy coming through with this card here. So if you're wondering why this masculine pulled their energy back, this is why. This is someone who has a very, very strange way of communicating their emotions. So this masculine may be very, very stoic. They may be extremely guarded, especially when it comes to their emotional expression. And I'm getting that in the recent past, this is someone who made a very, very clean cut. So this was deeper than them just, pulling back their energy or them practicing this law of detachment, it almost feels like this masculine went to the extreme with you, divine feminine. So they could have completely went ghost. This is someone that could have definitely rejected you in some kind of way. And what's so interesting about this person's energy is that there's a huge difference between the actions that they take versus how it is that they feel about you on the inside. Because clearly, this is someone who feels like you deserve better than them. So I don't know what it is that transpired that led up to this no contact period, but this is a masculine who is triggered, very, very triggered by you for some reason. And this is the way that they chose to go about it. They chose to remove their self from the connection, from communicating with you, because they see themselves as the issue or they see themselves as the problem. But I'm getting that there was no type of explanation. And this is what's leading you to kind of separate the person from the energy. It's almost like you're trying to figure out, who is this person? Why do they deal with conflict this way? Or why are they responding to certain things that come up in the connection in this way? And if they were to really, really open up their heart space and communicate with you, they would tell you that it's because they feel like you deserve better. But the way that they're going about this is completely backwards. Okay? So there's a lot of kind of tricky energy when it comes to this masculine. This is someone that may be very, very hot and cold. They may come off very stoic. They may come off very, very calculated. They almost feel like the type of masculine where you kind of have to pull information from them. They don't easily expose what it is that they feel, or they don't easily communicate from their heart space. And this could be the very thing that led to you being in this no contact period. But if your person were to be completely honest, it is because they feel like you deserve better. But I'm getting very clearly their way of showing you this is really, really, it's really weird, okay? Almost like they would rather completely remove themselves instead of communicating with you. Let's get the next message here. Oh, wow. So the next message that we have is trauma bond. Yeah, divine feminine, you may not know this, but you completely triggered this masculine, okay? This is why when it comes to you, they have a very, very different way of responding to certain things that happen in your connection. This is a masculine that has a very, very specific pattern when it comes to feminine energy. Because anytime this card comes out, it means that your person is used to connecting with feminines from a place of trauma. And this doesn't have to be anything super heavy, but this definitely taps into a connection that may be extremely low vibrational, okay? And when it comes to you, divine feminine, you have a very, very different way of communicating with this masculine. You have a very, very different way of holding them accountable that they're not used to. They're used to extremes. They may be used to very, very abrasive types of communication, or even, arguing or disagreeing. And something about this just feels like you're not that type of feminine, because there's this heavy energy of detachment. And like I mentioned in the beginning, you could be a feminine that approaches love in a very analytical type of way. This is not to say that you're not emotional or that you're not tapped into your emotions, but you definitely have a healthy balance of being logical and being emotional. This masculine is used to dealing with feminine energy that maybe is not tapped into the more logical side. So there's heavy emotion. And the problem with this is that when you connect from this level of trauma, it can feel like this is a high level type of connection initially, because you're pulling from very, very raw emotion. The only difference between the trauma bond and a high level connection is that with the trauma bond, you're just continuously repeating a pattern, or you're continuously repeating a cycle. So divine feminine, whether you know it or not, you put a stop to some type of cycle that this masculine was used to replaying in their lives. They had a specific pattern. And it's almost like the minute that you did this, this is where your person became triggered. This is where they realized that you deserved better, or that you were not a feminine on this vibrational frequency. This is why their responses to you are so extreme. Because whatever pattern they're used to, it's almost like you're not willing to play into that. And so they have to take a different approach. And for them, their method of choice or their decision was to completely pull their energy back. So now your masculine is at this place where they're kind of forcibly having to practice the law of detachment and to look at you and to see who you truly are as a person. And they're realizing that you definitely deserve better than what it is that they're used to. And I was picking up on that energy in the beginning of the reading, where this law of detachment is mutual. You both are looking at one another very, very differently, but it's happening in different ways. Divine Feminine, you're doing this as a response to this masculine, and they're forcibly put in this energy where they have to look at who you truly are. So if you're wondering why it is that you are truly in separation from this person, it's because this masculine has a certain love language. And what's so interesting when it comes to this dynamic between the masculine and feminine energy, as the feminine, because you are a receiver, you will always either rise to the level of the masculine or sink to the level of the masculine. And the way this energy is coming out, this is something that you refuse to do. You could have set a certain standard for yourself. There's a certain way that you like to communicate or even be in connection. And it feels like this is where the disconnect was. And so instead of you allowing this masculine to kind of pull you down to this place, you stood your ground, okay? And by you standing your ground, your person can look at you and say, wow, this is a feminine that deserves better than that. Now, had you engaged with them in this way, had you played into their pattern, they would have definitely put you in a totally different category. But I'm getting that you avoided that. Let's get the next message here. So the next message that we have is God has a sense of humor. This energy is very, very interesting. And it's almost like this masculine is at this place where they have to laugh in order to keep from crying, because this is someone that absolutely manifested you. They're at this place where they're realizing that when you manifest something or when you call something in, the version of you that's manifesting something versus the version of you that actually gets it are two completely different versions of you. And so now they're realizing, wow, God has a sense of humor, because they're realizing that you were sent to them to help them break this pattern, to help them establish or create a totally different love language. But they're realizing that they played into their old pattern. So this masculine could have been under the impression that the shift or the change was going to come in a different form. But they're realizing that you were the person who came in their lives to help them make this shift. And now they're sitting back, and it's almost like they literally have to laugh in order to keep from crying, because they're realizing that when you pray and when you ask God for something, God doesn't just give it to you. God gives you the opportunity to become that version of yourself, and will literally place people on your path or place opportunities on your path to see if you really, really want what you say you want. And I'm being drawn back to this card, you deserve better. I feel like this is your person responding to you or being triggered by you because they know that they deserve better. You were the better, Divine Feminine. So there's a heavy dual energy with this card. It's almost like the both of you are matching energy, but it's in a very, very different way. So when it comes to this energy of a trauma bond, Divine Feminine, this could be familiar territory for you as well. You could have been in this place at a specific time in your journey where you were attracting certain masculine energies who carried this energy signature. This is how you were able to spot this. This is how you were able to kind of stand your ground and to kind of, pull your energy back and to look at this masculine clearly, to really look at them as a soul, to see if they were measuring up to the type of energy that they were calling in. Because when a masculine gets to this place of calling in the divine feminine, there has to be a certain level of growth. There has to be a certain level of awareness. But the one thing about this journey that sticks out is that it is absolutely going to trigger you. And you can either use what you've been learning as it pertains to your healing to respond to the situation in a high vibrational way, or you can revert back to your pattern and respond to it in a low vibrational way. And it feels like this is what this masculine did. So I don't know what took place specifically to lead up to this no contact period, but it was definitely a very triggering moment, divine feminine, for you to see characteristics of this trauma bond or this low vibrational energy. And for this divine masculine to see very clearly that you were not a feminine vibrating at this level. And for some reason that really triggered them to do something extreme, like pull their energy back. It's almost like they're kind of embarrassed. Honestly, this is really the energy that's coming through here. And now it has your person looking at themselves and realizing that the version of them that was praying for you and manifesting you and calling you in is completely different from the version of them that they were when you actually appeared on their path. Wow. Let's get the next message here. So the next message that we have is, this is my biggest secret. And I just got love very, very clearly. What's really hitting this masculine like a ton of bricks right now is that for as long as they can remember, this is someone that wanted to experience a certain level in love. And honestly, this is something that a lot of divine masculines go through. They come into this world kind of knowing that they are the divine masculine, actively seeking out this feminine energy. But they are literally programmed to show up in connections in a certain way. They're programmed to treat feminine energy in a certain way. And this programming starts when they are very, very little. And it's such an interesting thing to see unfold, because the divine masculine is always on this path to find the divine feminine. And what separates the divine feminine from everyone else is that everyone else will go along with this pattern. Everyone else will just fall in line and allow this masculine to lead them to a place, whether it be loving from the lower chakras, whether it be, introducing them to certain energies or certain things that really don't align with their divinity. They'll just fall in line. The divine feminine will not. Because a part of this journey is you really understanding who you are as a soul, and you really understanding that you came here for the capacity to love at the highest level. And that begins with truly loving yourself. That's literally the only thing that separates the divine feminine from any other feminine, is that you have the ability to make the divine masculine raise their standards. So when we look at this through a spiritual lens, you're not here to fall in love. You're not here to descend in love. You're here to rise in love. So not only is it very, very easy for you to identify a masculine that's loving at a lower level, this is also something that you're not willing to accept. So this is why I was picking up on that energy of exposure, because it's kind of like, honestly, it really feels like God is putting this masculine on blast. It's like, this is what you asked for. This is how it showed up. And this is how you treated the divine feminine. It does not make sense. It does not add up. And now your masculine is in this energy where they're realizing that, wow, the version of me that I was when I called this in was a version that did not have this type of energy. And now that they actually had you, like in the flesh, had access to you, able to speak to you, able to reach out and touch you, they handled you in a way that was not very, very good. Okay, I'm getting that very, very clearly. And this doesn't have to be anything heavy or traumatic or anything like that. This could just be like a breakdown in emotional expression, or just a way that the both of you view relationships in a certain way. But if you're wondering the real reason why you're at a distance from this person, or why there's separation, or the need for you to practice healthy detachment, it's because your person is realizing that they severely mishandled you. And the way that they responded to that was just abruptly pulling their energy back, almost like they are in deep regret or guilt or even shame for how they handled this situation. Because if they were to really, really speak to you from the heart space, this is someone that called in a higher love. But there's a huge difference between something that you call in and your authentic pattern. That's the separation here. Let's get the last message. Okay, so the last message that we have is signs from the universe. Divine Feminine, your energy is everywhere. Your energy is everywhere because this masculine ended this in a way that was not proper. And they're realizing that the signs are everywhere when it comes to you. This is also the difference between your energy and everyone else's energy. They're realizing that God has a sense of humor, because the way that they're connecting to the masculine or putting this energy or showing them signs is very, very different than anything they've ever experienced. They may be seeing a lot of number synchronicities all of a sudden. They could be seeing your name, your birthday. They could be hearing certain messages, like very, very specific, direct messages about your connection in movies and songs. Is just showing up in a way where they have to sit back and literally laugh to keep from crying. And it's like every time one of these spiritual or supernatural occurrences happen, it's like they're sitting back and saying, God really has a sense of humor. And God knows exactly how to get their attention. And it's only because they're being shown that they can actually have exactly what it is that they want. But there are two versions of them. The version of them that's calling the thing in, the version of them that may even be at a place of lack because they feel as if this is something that they want or something that they want to add to their world, versus the person who has it, who knows that they're deserving of it. Two totally different versions of this masculine energy. So this is definitely a person that was used to trauma bonds. They were used to connecting with feminine energy and playing out a very, very low vibrational love story. And this is not to say that, the people that they were in connection with were bad people. This is just speaking about patterns, things that we pick up and things that we learn along our journey from family, from friends, from people who influence us before we actually, go through the dark night of the soul and we are reborn and we actually know who we are as souls. And that type of awakening only happens when you get to this point in your journey and you encounter a soul who lets you know that they deserve better. But not only that, you deserve better as well. So this is what your person is going through. This masculine is definitely going through some type of healing. And this healing is about the way that they show up in their connections. So if you haven't heard from your person, this is the reason why. And honestly, it feels like this separation had to happen in the way that it happened in order for this message to get to your person. There are some things that you will not be able to communicate to them, Divine Feminine. Some things have to come directly from source. Some things have to come directly from their higher power. And this is one of the messages that's being downloaded within your person at this time. And it feels like once this is fully integrated, they're definitely going to reach back out to you. But depending on where you are right now and what it is that you come up with, this is something that you may be open to. This is something that you may not be open to. But it definitely feels like the both of you are looking at this through a very, very different lens. It's almost like you're kind of stripping away the energy or the emotion and really, really looking at this connection logically. Because deep down, it's like the both of you know that if this is really yours, it's going to return to you. And it really feels like when this masculine returns to you, they will return to you in a different form. Okay, so if that's something that you're open to, Divine Feminine, definitely be on the lookout for that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the reading here. If you resonated with this message, please be sure to hit the like button on your way out. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you are a member over on Patreon, I will be heading over there to continue the reading just to see what unfolds next in this dynamic. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.